Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Just Another Kill Team podcast, connecting kill team communities across the globe. If you're passionate about the tactical skirmish game that brings together strategy, lore, and creativity, you are in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay updated with our latest episodes. If you want to support the show, check out our Patreon. Your support means a lot to us. Follow us by using the social media links in the podcast description for all the latest news, and be sure to leave a review to let us know what you think. Thanks for tuning in. Here's today's episode.
Yeah.
Got my spreadsheet up here with all the stats now.
Oh yeah, from the event, or just like Corsairs in general.
No, I went back into BCB just to look at, who actually played on what mission and what map. Because as I went along in the tournament, I ritually discarded the crit op cards and moved on to the next round and be like, let the previous round fade from the mind as we go into the next round.
I actually think that sort of thing is pretty important for like tournament play anyways, because you really care about the old games when you're going to your next game. Because like the only thing you're looking for is like what kind of mistakes you made in those games. And I guess, off of 6 21-point games in a row, maybe not too many mistakes.
I made 2 mistakes over 7 games. The first 6 games were like flawless execution of, I knew exactly what was going to happen when, what was in play, and everything that was going on. Game 6, I forgot the proclivity for murder could let you dash, so he got to throw a grenade at me. Game 7, I forgot the Impred Tech has his own magnify weapon. I completely forgot he has his own gun that can be magnified, and lost the guy to that, but we recovered quickly from that one. It was great. You host a great event. You do some good things.
I try my best as a TO. GW pays me. I might as well do a good job.
Yeah, do a good job out here.
I'm not perfect. I make mistakes from time to time. There was like a judge call I made that initially I got wrong, I think, and then while re-looking at the rules, I was like, oh, this is definitely, I made the wrong call, so I rewound it to a point where I asked if they wanted to keep the dice or if they wanted to go further back, and they chose to keep the dice. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. And then fair. At the end of the day, TOs are doing the best they can, and I think that's a hard part about the hobby when you go to these larger tournaments and there's more stress on the line, especially for both players, right? I guess for you didn't have a golden ticket at the time. Were you stressed out?
Not really, because in my mind, I'm like, Worlds was pretty jank. If I don't go, that's kind of fine. I can go to LVO instead. But I didn't realize this tournament came with a paid flight, so now I'm hyped to go because 50% of my trip is paid for.
Is Worlds the same weekend as LVO, or what's up with that?
It's like a month apart, maybe less.
Yeah, well, because LVO is now, I think the logic for all of the tournaments moving around is for the last couple years, or basically for the entirety of Warhammer's existence right now, LVO has been the capstone, the grassroots capstone, and now that they have the actual capstone run by Games Workshop, it didn't make sense for LVO to be the second capstone. Like,
but come on,
didn't really fit next to each other.
It's a dick punch to put LVO a month before Worlds, knowing full well that people who need to travel to both of these events are going to be hard pressed to go to both.
Yeah, I do. I actually like the old schedule, so I'm kind of bummed out that the schedule is the way it is. I mean, sure, it gets in the way of my event, but that doesn't really matter to me so much. It's just now there's like nothing in January. Like January is kind of an empty month now.
Yeah, perfect holiday treat, because January is one of the perfect times to take vacation time. The office is still like on cooldown from the holiday season. So mid-January, you can still be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take a couple days off, go to LVO and come back, because nobody's really working into like the 3rd or 4th week of January anyway.
From what I understand, LVO also has some other considerations. They're moving out of the Rio finally, so it's going to be a bigger venue. We'll see if that matters. I don't actually know.
But no hotel anymore. I was a huge fan of. I know the Rio is kind of mid, but it was cheap. Got the job done. It was attached to where you were playing. I love that.
Yeah, I think that they were like getting capped out on size from what I understand on the 40K side. I don't actually know, but
dude, 40K they get 1,000 players easy like every single time is absurd.
Yeah, so they're moving over to Convention Center. I think there's a hope that they can expand in the direction of like the Comic-Cons and these other events, because Worlds and the narrative, as far as like, what is Games Workshop trying to do, is like a business plan kind of deal, is they're trying to move in the Comic-Con, Magic the Gathering con direction, which is there's more room for not just the sweaty nerds. Because I'll be honest, as much as I love being a sweaty nerd and running tournaments for the sweaty nerds aren't what pays the bills.
Oh, dude, I love the fact that it was attached to a convention. I ran into a whole bunch of retailers that I've seen at other conventions and LVO and other places. It's great to like catch up. The Creature Caster booth guy I've run into a bunch of times. When I got my golden ticket at LVO, I went and bought a bunch of absurdly expensive minis. So like, treat yourself. I just did great. He remembered me from that. I needed to borrow super glue, and he was like on his way out. He's like, just take it and come back later and pay. What retailer does that? He's great.
Yeah. Simon from Creature Caster, super nice. He sponsored New York Open one year, and I met him when I was up there for Play on Tabletop, so super cool. And for anyone who doesn't know what Creature Caster is, it's like hand-poured resin models, and they do their own hex-based game that is like a Dota-style game, which is a very weird vibe, and it's a much crunchier game than Kill Team.
Sadly, with regular adult life, there is room for one, maybe two tabletop wargaming systems in your life.
Yeah, I've got Magic the Gathering and Kill Team.
I got Kill Team, and it was 40K. That might get shuffled down into the I do this for funsies, like just for funsies roster, because we'll see. I just want to play Space Marines, man. Just want to hang out and paint my 2,000 points of death while I just build my company-sized force and play that.
And just have your own lore for all of your dudes.
Yeah, like I want to do that. And I also don't want to keep buying the fucking cards. I'm sorry. Like, I can't be arsed to go pre-order and hunt down and go get these goddamn cards that are just slightly different than the previous set of cards.
Yeah, I mean, competitive 40K is a whole separate vibe. And honestly, I feel like most of that game and the player base is much bigger, but it's also inherently like a more casual player base in some senses. Because like a lot of people are just playing. Like they're not.
Well, like Maple Leaf Wargaming is a lot of that. We have a bunch of people who are competitive, but the vast majority are in that semi-competitive 40K is fun. Let's play 40K space.
Yeah,
which you should be. It should still be fun.
Do you get the sense that the Canadian scene is kind of hitting the edges of where Kill Team growth is kind of stuck? I think. As me and Jason do the week-to-week stat show, and we were like seeing that Kill Team growth is kind of like plateaued a little bit as far as BCP goes. Like we're not getting too many more players at the moment. Like some of the bigger tournaments are big, but we're not seeing like more and more people. And my expectation is that there is this kind of problem where Kill Team, there's not a lot of cope. If you get stuck.
Canada's just beginning. Like, okay, we did CTC with the 3 golden tickets, 32 players on the Saturday. There was a sold out 24-person tournament. Like, let's call it an hour away. There's a 28 person.
Strong, huh?
We just started a new player academy at Top Shelf, the store I worked with to host CTC. They sold out in 10 minutes. Like they put it up and it sold. I think the interest is there. I think in our area, like the metro area that population wise we're talking 10 plus million people, like a 3-hour bubble around the GTA. It's like 10 million people. It's like a third of the country's population. I think we can only go up. I think the BCP stats look a little flat because we're almost saturated in our capacity to host events. Like there's only so many stores and so many weekends and all that. And what we need is probably a few more TOs, and then we could expand that. But a lot of places are like at capacity, like in terms of hosting events. Like Chimera's got one every month now. Crit Hit is doing monthlies. ETB does monthlies. There's like 3 or 4 stores that do monthlies, and then we have 2 or 3 places that'll host big tournaments. I think we're just like, we need someone to open up a new store if we want more tournaments to be hosted.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm
working on.
We were talking a little bit at Edmonton. You were mentioning how after this tournament, sure you did very well, but you are also looking forward to going back home and running some tournaments in your home area, right? Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about kind of like that motion to go from competitive player to like I'll run tournaments and make sure other people have a place to play, because that's kind of me and Jason's journeys also.
So coming from a competitive player, so I've hosted a few 40k RTTs and things like that before I started doing anything for Kill Team. Then hosted a few smaller Kill Team events for Maple Leaf Wargaming, which was a great time. I loved it off the bat. It's low stress, have fun. You just got to make sure everything runs right. And then something like CTC that's big, it was really fun to take that from inception and then ensure it was knocked out of the park at every stage. Working with Top Shelf was amazing. And through that experience, I'm like, yeah, I love this niche. I definitely want to continue hosting events, and finding a balance between playing and hosting events is tough, but I'm fine. Like, if I could get a 50-50 split, totally fine. Get to play in like the odd tournament here and again, host a bunch, I'd be happy. It's great for community growth too. It's just fun to see people come out, learn the game. You see them over the course of tournaments, and then you see them start winning and getting better. It's really cool to see the growth of people.
Yeah, that moment of like watering the lawn and then everyone is growing at the same time is great.
Yeah, like watching David Fag win a golden ticket. That was great. Super cool time. I watched him learn the game.
Yeah, and for your run, this recent run at Edmonton with the 7 rounds, you were coming out of like, you're on the East Coast and you're coming over to, I think, like the Midwest.
Prairies, basically, yeah. Midwest is the closest allegory.
Yeah. For the U.S. people and for anyone who doesn't know, the Midwest is kind of like the empty part of America.
Edmonton is a suburban city of 1 million people.
Yeah, definitely very weird vibes for me wandering around. I was like, this kind of reminds me of Chicago, but a little emptier.
Small Chicago.
But it was a cool tournament. I mean, like Edmonton, it's clearly got a lot of room to expand. So hopefully GW is there next year with an even larger tournament. At least on the 40K side, they had 250 people. So Kill Team is kind of keeping the same range. We're about a quarter.
Like compared to LVO, it's a good spot to start and a good place to grow from. Like so I've been to 3 LVOs. I think the first one's like 60-ish players, and then 90-ish, and then 120, 115 something ish. So there's a nice growth to it.
115-ish, yeah.
Yeah, starting at like 40 for the first one in town, I think that's great. I think you'll start at 40 here. Next year, 60 to 80, easy. And I think it will continue to hop because it's in Canada. It's great for us to get to. It's relatively cheap to fly within Canada. It's in the middle, so you get everybody down from Vancouver. So many people drove, like a nice 3 to 5 hour bubble just drove in. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of people coming from like the couple cities like right below, I think Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary is a big one.
Yeah, Calgary, and then Vancouver showed up, and then obviously you showed up and sniped the tournament. I guess we should talk a little bit about the sniping of the tournament. Most people, for anyone who doesn't know, Vivek and Jason have a history where they played at LVO, and Jason tying Vivek on In the Dark got Adrian first place last year for ITC.
Year before, we're one LVO after that now.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yep. So that was a pretty funny mini game. And then this year, Vivek,
that was my second major tournament. I did amazing.
That was outrageously amazing.
You were in the top 3, right?
I was second.
Yeah, undefeated.
2 victory points. Yeah, 7 wins, 2 draws.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was a wild tournament. That was the first tournament where me and Jason actually met for the first time. So all sorts of weirdness at that event. But you've done a lot of growing in the meantime. You've been to Worlds now at least once, probably twice now, coming soon.
Yeah, with the flight, absolutely.
Yeah, with the flight, absolutely. And then this tournament, you pick Corsairs, which I have assumed was one of the better teams, just because the raw rules seem very broken.
So. Yeah,
but the stats haven't really shown that as far as stats go. From week to week stats, like they do okay, but they have not been doing very well. But this weekend, you carried the faction. And did you expect that they were going to be an S tier team when you picked them up?
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to David Seafried again for today. He played 1 game against me on ITD with Corsairs. He did the Shade Runner reposition scouting through the wall to set up the Starstorm Duelist. I got my ass whooped. I'm sold. I'm 100% sold. I'm playing this team. I think they're absolutely brilliant. They have a couple tough matchups, but I've played them and understand how you can make them winnable. So I think you pay for offense. The number of power swords, the piercing, the tricks, everything. Everybody is squishy. Your fundamentals need to be on point in terms of giving up no value. And if you play that give up no value, slightly cagey game, you're super fast. You're incredibly fast with very lethal weapons. So you get that 10-inch move dash shoot with the piercing 2 blaster, do 12 damage to a space marine. You were so happy about that. And there's not much they can do about it because you can just stage further back because you're faster.
That's true. Yeah, they 100% just the ability to dictate the speed of the game and like who strikes first is just such an insanely strong thing. So you mentioned a couple of tough matchups. What are the tough matchups?
Felgor for sure. Felgor is rough because you have 2 operatives and then potentially extra with 3 APL who can go do something twice and take out a Felgor in one shot. So you can get a lot of frenzies off, but the frenzies they can trade up quite easily. Everybody got 4 damage on that team. They just got to hit you a few times and you die. So it feels like you can't really trade around. You have to dance around engagement ranges, getting potential alpha strikes. You essentially need to frenzy 2 people with the Starstorm Duelist to make it happen, which you can line up and make work to a certain extent. Goremongers is another one.
But Felgor are like one mistake away from a chain charge, and you're like, oh, we messed this one up.
Yeah,
really
it is another one. You got to play it flawlessly. I played Max in the GT as Felgor. We drew. All I needed to do different was instead of trying to shoot to frenzy a guy, if I had just stunned him, it would have been totally fine, and then I would have won the game. So it was, but I played a very exacting, ridiculous, dancy game against them, and it's not something you do like 3 games in a row sort of thing. You're going to be exhausted by game 2 playing that kind of exaction, perfectly measuring everything out, ensuring that nothing goes wrong that you can control. Goremongers is way easier than Felgor, but can be problematic because they can just stand and tank a lot of the stuff. The breakpoints in melee are particularly bad, so you really got to do the softening up and shooting and comboing melee and things like that. It's still a little tough. Everything else, Void Dancer Troop is the third one, simply because your main strength is you got a lot of piercing as well. The power swords do give you tons of cut into Void Dancers, but the fact that they ignore the piercing just means you're just like them. I guess I'm slinging shurikens at people, essentially.
Except they've got a couple asymmetric melee charges where they like, oh, you're dead. I hit you twice, remove the model.
Like basically twice a turn, they can outtrade you, strike, fall back, shoot, double strike, kill. So you have to
shoot them. They've got the domino field once a turn, and you're like, well, I shot and nothing happened.
Pro tip: roll 3s to hit. Just roll 3s to hit. If you hit on 3s, simply roll 3s to hit. They can't domino field it. So it's very, very tricky, but you have just enough extra juice, in my opinion, through the Starstorm Duelist, where you can go up, you can get 2 for 0s, 2 for 1s, and you out activate them. So you have enough to go in there and sock it to him and try and get her done. I got, I believe, a quadruple kill. Or I think it was 3 and 1 guy on 1 by the end of first activation, TP2. He was cursed. The luck of the Laughing God was on my side that game. Couldn't roll the hit, couldn't roll the save. If I rolled, a bunch of numbers and a bunch of them lined up, he would roll exactly around the numbers for domino field. It was just nothing would line up.
The curse mirror of minds where you're thinking exactly 0 thoughts.
Yeah, he was disconnected from the goddess of luck in that entire game. It was rough.
It's definitely part of the fun parts of the game. So I'm actually kind of curious. You mentioned that Corsairs have a lot of really good rules. They've got some bad matchups. You were playing War Coven at Worlds. Obviously a team that still has a lot of very powerful rules. Was there ever really a thought of you playing Warp Coven for this tournament, or once they got nerfed enough, you switch over to Corsairs and it's just been Corsairs?
The nerf that broke my heart was the one when they took away the mission actions from Zangors once per turning point, made it once per battle. That was the one that broke me. I could have done everything else, even the Doombolt nerf, which it should be 4-3, devastating 2, to be in line with similar weapons that do that. But all fine. They took away my mission actions. Like, no, I'm out.
Do you still think that Warp Coven could be good, even with that nerf?
Maybe. It's possible. Its problem is you now need to play a similar, almost perfect game to get all the juice, but now there's just way less juice for you to get. I think they're really great into elves because being able to run 9 deep where everybody can still go 2-tap an elf is fantastic. Like if you are at 8 wounds without the capacity to reduce that damage, yeah, 6 Zangors, 3 sorcerers is a nightmare for elves to deal with.
Yeah, and you basically have 2 rosary effects, so every turn that you can't really get around, so your opponent's just like, well, I better hope that this shooting attack works, because it's probably not.
Yeah, plus like the normal damage reduction, and they've got healing, and like they've got movement shenanigans to kind of like match you. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Like they can run a 7-inch sorcerer and a fly sorcerer and be like, cool, I can be almost as fast as you.
Yeah, plus they can blow the horn and make all of their goobers run 7 too.
Did I hear cat?
Yes.
Aw.
Cat break. All right, so you were playing Warp Coven at the beginning of the edition. Now you're on Corsairs. Obviously, there's some overlap in some of the profiles, but obviously Corsairs are far more flexible as a broad team, just because everyone is kind of interchangeable. Whereas on Warp Coven, things have a specific job. Your rubrics are there to stand in place, get a couple shots off. Your Zangors are running around to do missions and maybe snipe an operative. The Zangor champion is the melee trade piece, and then your 3 sorcerers all kind of have their jobs between ping-ponging and otherwise. Have you found specific Corsair combos that you tend to like? Obviously, the 2 melee guys who can catch melee charges go up early to kind of distract your opponent, but there's more to it than that, I assume.
Okay, so the most basic one is your one of your wizards has the ability to swap 2 operatives within 5 inches or himself with another operative in 5 inches. Using scouting reposition, and everybody can free dash. When you do the teleport, if you reposition, charge, or fallback, it precludes the teleported operative from doing those actions. Doesn't include dash, so you can scouting reposition into dash and be 5 to 6 inches up the board, then swap, and now you have a ready operative who is 5 inches up the board who can move 10 inches. And then that covers a very wide arc in front of you on that part of the board. If your opponent is already up there with a couple operatives, neat. You probably get to kill 1 and change guys, if not 2, off the bat. It is purely avoidable. Once you see where it is, you can just not be in the places you can be shot. But you lose a bunch of tempo for standing back. So threatening the Alpha Strike is almost as good as doing it. But the real like feels bad of all of it, when you do the Alpha Strike and then you win initiative and then you do it again. That's the where it, particularly into an elite matchup, because you'll do like 1.5 guys with the first activation. You do another 1.5 guys, you've killed 3 people on a 6-person team for nothing, and the game is just yours at that point to do with what you will. So they are capable of that high lethality, but it is fairly telegraphed by everything that is positioned around. Like the moment you do that scouting reposition, your opponent knows, okay, he's gonna dash somewhere here. The dash is most likely gonna be somewhere safe. They know where it's coming from. It's all on the table. They just got to measure it out, and you can avoid it. You can also counter stage up against it because it is slow by 1 activation. So if you scouting reposition somebody up to threaten, because you'll know where they're going. Usually an ammo cache or something's going to be there. You can scouting reposition to stage somebody up aggressively against that. Be like, hey, when you do the swap, I'm gonna come get that guy. So there are ways to protect against it. Jaegers with the strat phase shooting, excellent tech against it. You out activate, and you can just set them up to do that. And it doesn't matter who wins initiative, you can just do it. Big downside, dwarves are short. So this happened in my game. Dwarves are short. I strat phase dashed to a place he couldn't see me, and he couldn't get the shot. So there is a downside.
Ratlings and all the Hernkin definitely have some issues because they are shorter models than everyone else. Yeah, I mean, at Edmonton, did any players basically ask you enough questions where they were able to work around the Alpha Strike on turn 1?
Every player understood what I was saying and the concept of what I could do. A bunch of them did pre-measure. They all made the same mistake. They forgot to pre-measure the distance after the dash. So they measured it from the scouting reposition, but not from where I was going to dash to. So they all moved slightly too far up, because they basically gave themselves 3 inches of padding that wasn't there, slightly too far up, and then it was like, cool, swap, go kill that guy. Chuck knew exactly what was coming and planned for it and got my ass. I forgot the Apprentice. So 2 mistakes in the whole game. Proclivity for Murder allows you to dash if you kill somebody, not just charge. And the Apprentice has his own Magnify weapon. So he teleported a guy up, magnified through, killed my Shade Runner. So he turned what would have been my tempo play into his tempo play, which was fantastic. I would have been like a straight 1-for-1 because I could just cleanly pick up the guy he sent up to do the Magnify shot. I went for the riskier play because he had 3 dudes within 2 for the devastating 2-inch gun. Walk up, 1 hit, 3 ones. Pick up all 3 CP into 3 crits. That was the one moment in the tournament where it's like, I need to get a little lucky here. Would be super great. And it was with me. It was with me right there when I needed it. The rest of the tournament,
3
I rolled
CP for that activation, right?
Yeah, and I turned what would have been a 1-for-1 into now a 3-for-1, which was just a fantastic swing. It wiped basically that entire flank. Despotech is below half too, so he has to retreat because he's in get one tapped by power sword range now.
Yeah, yeah.
But people, they were kind of ready for it, but everybody made a slight mistake into it, and because it is so much movement, that's all it takes. In the Hernkin matchup, the Jaeger one, it was tough. He positioned really well to try and counter it and defend against it with the strat phase shooting, but he also came slightly too far up. He thought he could find the I am obscured or in cover line. I think I got a little too close to all the terrain with all the movement and broke the obscuring. But nobody died. That was the first time the Starstorm failed to outright kill anybody. He popped the leader down to 1 and then knocked someone else down to 1. I won initiative going to TP2, but he had the strat phase shooting to go on. The strat phase dash out of the way and then move, finish off the leader and the other guy. That was when, and then the 2 confirmed kill tokens start to go out. Started to swing, but he had excellent positioning where there's the ploy to allow them to shoot into combat on the charge. He had perfect bubble set up where his sniper was covering half his team. He had a super obscured, very hard to see rocket launcher guy on engage covering the other half of his team. So anywhere I was going to charge, somebody was eating either a ceaseless AP1 rocket or a sniper shot from Vantage. So charging was just out of the question. I had to play this move dash shoot game with shurikens and all my other weapons. Everybody gets picked up in one. Oh, except the Shade Runner. The Shade Runner just refused to die.
Yeah, that actually has me wondering, what did you do for equipment most of the time? Because as a real quick detour, against the Jaegers, what you do is you bring smoke grenades, and if you have 3 APL, then you can smoke the guy you're going to charge, and then charge in, and then if they shoot you, they'll
charge into obscuring, that's cute.
That's my tech for them if you have 3 APL and smoke grenades. But what did you do for equipment?
I took ammo cache 7 out of 7 games.
Okay.
And then a mix of the other factions. So if my opponent had a bunch of blast or torrent, things like that, I would take the equipment that gives you the reroll against it. I took star charts almost every game just to fill a slot. It's 77% chance to gain a CP. It's just a good time. I took the psychic extension more often than not. It's pretty good. The one that boosts one of your psychic abilities range by 3 inch, except the teleport. The comms being able to move 10 inches and calm someone at 9 inches is very useful. Yeah. The heal, I don't think ever came up. There were a couple instances where I could heal, but the enemy teams were all lethal enough that this guy is on 3. If I heal him back to full, he still just gets one tapped. Like, I got lucky that he was alive this time, kind of thing. The heal doesn't come up a lot, but the APL boost is great. Like, being able to just do it from super far away. Warding shield comes up like once or twice a game, maybe. The wizard is mostly on either offense or stun duty, or swapping to save people. The warding shield, it is for a normal. It can make a difference. Everything else in his kit feels a little more useful at the moment since the nerf. Which is why the nerf is fine. It's like they nerfed that part of his kit. His kit is still great. Like, he has other tools, and now you're just more incentivized to go use those tools instead of the broken just a scratch.
Yeah, you basically get to imagine that with the Wayseeker, you effectively have 15 inches of movement for any given operative, right? At least once a turn.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, I'm going to dash him up and swap. Cool. Slightly further up is amazing. The saving people is the best, though. Being able to take someone and engage out of the front line against a short range team and throw them in the back again, knowing that I move 10 inches. It's fine. I can get back up there real quick.
Does the teleport need to be visible? Could you like teleport someone into like a Volcus stronghold?
I've done. So I had the Nemesis Claw player dash my Starstorm out in the open through the Volcus stronghold door. I used the wizard to just teleport it back into cover, back at the corner of the stronghold where the wizard started. Things like that. I've teleported people unengaged to places where they would be obscured from reachable shots and things like that. So it's been pretty useful to teleport people around. Yeah. Particularly the Starstorm duelist. I don't think he'd die for anybody else. For the duelist, he's willing to swap into the place where the duelist was going to die and die for him.
And this is generally you're moving your Wayseeker into the position that you want and then flipping the two, right?
Usually, yeah. On ITD, it's the Shade Runner. Everywhere else is just the Wizard because it cuts the combo down by a whole activation.
You can have the Wizard in the right position already, right? Because you're moving, you want to switch someone that is already gone so they're not representing like a new threat to your opponent that they can chop off. So Warpfold, because you're swapping positions of two spots, you'd have to have someone already preset in an obscuring spot, or you just use the Wayseeker then just flip him into the position, right? And then the Wayseeker is now forward, he shoots once and then he's done.
Yeah, and because you have that 10-inch movement, being in the back, you still come out 1, move up 8, go hit the no man's land objective. Yeah, like the whole team, we were talking about synergies earlier. The whole team just sings together. Everybody has each other's back. You have the Kernite Hunter, the one you tag somebody. If they move, you can charge or reposition closer. And you swing first once per turning point if you're ready. Amazing guy. When your opponent wants to be like, I am going to stage up conservatively too, if he only stages up one guy, Bird Person gets to stage up for free. If that guy has to shoot, neat. I'm within 9, I'm going to tag you. That guy cannot move unless you want to retreat and then allow me to move closer to your lines and charge somebody else.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Very powerful. And you've basically got 2 operatives that can kind of stage up aggressively in the mid board because you've got the Kurnothi that takes charges pretty well and the Kernite Hunter if your opponent is just playing a single operative KG.
I don't trust the Kurnothi to get charged. The Kurnothi is there to assassinate people who fight with fists. Anybody who's 3 dice fists, the Kurnothi is there to charge in with Ceaseless, pre-parry, parry again, kill a guy. Take no damage, kill someone clean. The Kurt is so good at that. When they don't have, or they're only a 3 dice melee weapon, you're like, neat. I'm going to double parry you and then kill you and take no damage and do that a few times. The ones you want to take the charge, the Hunter, absolutely. The Leader, sometimes. Against 2 APL teams all the time, against 4 APL or 3 APL, maybe not.
50-50 less likely.
50-50. I'm okay with the 3 up. The 4 up, maybe not. The threat is still there, though. Like, they charge you. It's like, cool, I made my 4 up. I'm going to do 10, 12 damage to you on the way out, which is most of your health. It's fine.
I mean, and then I guess a small thing on the Corsairs. Obviously, you mentioned earlier, I think maybe in the pre-show when we were talking, that you always take basically plant signal beacons. It's just the easiest thing to do.
I can go over like my
movement.
Yeah,
I think most people who are playing the game pretty actively know how good it is, and especially on elf teams, like we've had Void Dancer players on here.
I've left the beacon
that it's
game.
Good. Jason,
I'm out of the beacon game
for months.
Out of the beacon game.
About how plant beacons is
Beacons are dead to me. So I've been experimenting with no beacons because I hate planting a goddamn beacon. Okay? I don't like moving anybody up anywhere, measuring out the distance between the tokens, planting beacons. I don't like spending the AP on it. I don't like the positioning requirements. So I'll give you the breakdown. I ran confirm kill every game with tack up primary every game and just went for the throat, pick up the tokens. You play the crit op better, you play the kill op better, and you just naturally play the tack op through the course of the game. As Corsairs, you want to be around those tokens for rerolls anyway. They give you rerolls in places that are hard to get rerolls. Behind all the covers strewn around here. Neat. Come up and use this heavy cover. You're standing along my tokens. I'm going to get a reroll.
And that way you don't have to spend APL just kind of hanging out, wasting time.
Never have to waste APL. Yeah, that's
Did you ever experiment with items? Because I know we've had Dan Barton on here a ways back talking about how Goremongers, he's just taking those and then just murdering his opponents. So that way, in the last turning point when he has leftover operatives, he's got a couple things left over. They're just going to go grab those 6 points.
I would much rather run confirm kill over items because you basically need to table your opponent to go achieve recover items well. At that point, you might as well be tabling them with confirm kill and just pick them tokens up. which means you can also in a bloodbath, in a game where you're trading heavy with your opponent, but you're still scoring high on the crit up and everything else. You don't want to need to have those 3 operatives left if you need to be bashing your face into trades, but you're way up on crit op, so you're like, I just need to keep the tempo up. And then all of a sudden, oh shit, I don't have anybody to pick up these items. Whereas confirmed kill, it's like, neat, anybody's hanging around, we're gonna slurp up these tokens real quick, score some points.
I mean, there is maybe a fun thing for Corsair specifically, because if you're holding an item, you actually get your rerolls.
That is true. You could go pick one up and do it, but honestly, it being in the field is a little more useful. Multiple people can get rerolls off of it as you send in wave after wave if you're trading.
Yeah, I just imagine the world where your first play is to go pick up the object while next to the ammo crate, and you're like, all right, everyone's got double balance. Get wrecked, nerds.
I mean, it'd be great. You could. They're fast enough. It's just, they're quite squishy. You can get early advantages, but once you make contact with your opponent, you are going to suffer some losses. Because most offensive things they will do will just pick up a guy most of the time.
Basically kind of the issue that all the elf teams always perpetually have, which is good because it's very much a skill test, but you're always riding the
razor's edge. It's why I love them. It's like
you fall off the teeter, the seesaw once, and like your whole team just spills out across the board and everyone's got 8 wounds, and suddenly the Felgor, the Goremongers are all coming in and just two-shotting you. And I guess even the Space Marines, like when you have the wall of Space Marines that is just moving to the midboard and like, all right, you get one and then I kill the rest of them, which is what Jason would try to do. I don't know how well it would work, but that's certainly a way that Angels of Death can approach the matchup.
Well, that's where it's like, I've given you my bird person to move, dash, or charge against. I don't care if the bird person dies for 10 wounds. That's fine. Any amount, like a decent amount of damage in against a 6-man team, because you pick people up, play with initiative, you have the piercing. It's just, Corsairs and Elites is a good time. Nemesis Claw's tough. The more your rerolls are denied, the tougher the game gets. Which honestly I think is why they are quite good right now. When your opponent flubs, particularly when it's their activation and they're doing any kind of fight, and you're like, cool, I don't have any rerolls, and they just flub and you kill them. Massive tempo swings. Because
Nemesis Claw have like the flayed skin, so when you get into, I think within 2 inches, 3 inches, you can't reroll ones.
So within 2, you can't reroll ones, and they have an operative with a 3-inch bubble of no rerolls.
The Screecher with the loud noises, I think.
That one is rough because you're rarely gonna get to interact with them and get rerolls, and you really want to kill them because you want your rerolls.
Yeah, like who all are like the hard hitters? You've got a bunch of power swords. Do you bring the sniper ever?
No, never. Fate Dealer rides the bench. Heavy Gunner rides the bench most of the time. I took him twice out of 7 games. Once into Jaegers because it's more of a shooting match. I don't want to be charging in and losing people for free to deploy. And into Plague Marines on ITD. This is a good option. Plague Marines are slow. When they're up on engage, shoot to them with Wraith Cannon. Very good. My Wraith Cannon got to shoot all 3 turning points. I did. Shout out to Voyan. Thank you for sharpening me up on line of sights on ITD. I did all sorts of shenanigans with non-reciprocal line of sights. Because ITD can be rough like that. Sometimes it just do be like that. When you are on guard, there are spots. There are always spots where you'll be like, I can see you, you can't see me, and it's tough. And there are always spots where it's like, I'm obscured and you're not.
For anyone who's interested in how stuff like this works, when you're on in the dark and you're standing in the middle of the room, you're pretty much always going to give up some visibility or obscurity when opponents are breaking that guard. If you don't, you basically are running up to opposing sides of the wall and guarding from like reverse parts of the room. So you can imagine a box. If you stand in the middle and your opponent opens a door in front of you, they're probably going to be able to get an obscuring line at least. That's like the floor. But on some situations, with how visibility works in Kill Team, you can look at their toe because their toe is generally further out than their head. And you can snipe their toe. And with a Wraith Cannon, when you snipe the toe, the whole model goes along with it.
The Space Marine disappears.
Yep, and then from the model whose toe you're looking at, their head can't see you back.
Yeah.
You now have non-reciprocal visibility, which is even stronger than non-reciprocal obscured, and is actually my least favorite thing about Kill Team.
Yes, it is also. The non-reciprocal stuff is not fun, but if you're going to do high-level competitive play, you have to use it. There's no solution to it.
Know where it's going to come up. I think so. Like the way against this, this is a thing that to beat that sort of thing, the Plague Marines, instead of guarding in the room, you're running to the opposite side into the corner and then guarding the room that way. Because that way, your opponent
I can't
get into the room. And the thing is, in those games, the Plague Marine probably had the time to get over to the other side and then just guard in the corner.
Could have, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere that the enemy, the opponent's door completely can't see you is the only way to get around that.
Yep.
Yeah. Which if he had done exactly what here's the problem with what you said, the corner that he would have had to stand at was a door into the middle room that I had just killed his leader and another Plague Marine in. So I had my duelist basically hanging out around there, and all somebody's got to do is go up and open the door from my side and just come in and slap. So there were issues with trying to do. He had a network of guards. I ate, so my first shooting activation with the Wraith Cannon, I ate an obscured shot with my warding shield up.
It was at this time that my system crashed for 10 seconds, so we might as well plug the ad in right here.
Hey everybody, we're here doing our own little personal ad read for our respective tournaments. The New York Open, October 18-19, one of the last golden tickets before the actual World Championships of Warhammer. And Jason's got the Renegade Open.
Renegade Open hopping in right after that, which is going to be the first, maybe the first golden ticket event for the 2026 season in just outside of Minneapolis, pretty close to the airport, November 22 and 23 with a golden ticket.
Yeah, tickets are up on sale now at ny-open.com, and Renegade Open, you'll get tickets up when you get them up. And links will be in the show notes when it comes up.
Hope to see you there.
Regular Trooper with Sword and Shuriken does work. Into mid-range teams, hyper-threatening with the Power Sword. Into Space Marine teams, he's the dude who's going to walk up and do the 7 damage with the Shuriken pistol. He did so good.
You know, a CP every turn, basically.
I never used the free poise on him. So he was never in engagement range long enough because every team I played, except for the Kazakhin team, if you were in melee range with them, most likely getting counteracted and killed. So couldn't do that. The other one, fallback, same deal. Elves die quickly. You are not usually in engagement range of people to fall back. You are either dead or you have charged somebody.
It's there if you need it, but yeah, I see where you're coming from.
I wanted to. I was like trying to find angles where let me try and gain a CP here and gain some value, and it did not materialize.
Yeah, better to just remove the opposing model and then deal with the ramifications afterwards, right?
Which was the focus of my strategy, was play a very offensive game. I didn't come out planning to score 6 21s and a 19. I was just planning on playing a very tempo-focused, aggressive game, using the interrupt operatives and the Starstorm and the threat of the Alpha to sort of control the game, get material advantage early, and then trade pieces for points, was the plan. In all instances, the Starstorm just performed amazing and got me a bunch of value, which then allowed me to bully everybody with power swords. Once you've killed 2 Space Marines, you will happily charge a power sword into a Space Marine just to do 10 damage.
Yep.
Because when 3 of them are already dead, happily be like, yes, my lovely fights first Birdman is going to go charge directly up to you, and I'll do 10 and he'll die, but it will be completely fine, because we're at the point where if we drop another operative, the other guy's just going to get mobbed 8 shuriken shots a turn, and he's going to die.
Yeah, I love
it gives
that.
you a lot
That's
of freedom. Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing that you didn't run into Warp Coven in the lineup, right? Because a healing Space Marine is definitely spooky for this sort of gameplay.
One tap enough of them, and then when they do get the healing value, it's fine.
And the double counteract is for me, from the Space Marine perspective, Angels of Death, because I actually played against Corsairs a lot, and they've always been a spooky team for me. And the way that I got through it, I was like, I will trade 3 Space Marines, and then I will double counteract twice. And if each Space Marine can kill 3 elves, then all of a sudden it's you hit hard early, and then I hit hard late, and it evens out, and I can push ahead. And if there's a little bit of unfavorable dice for the elves, it can turn out that way. But most people would kind of back off a little bit once it's a single Space Marine gets a triple kill and they run away. And the fact that you were just feed the bite, kill them more, I was always that's the answer. And
the main thing is
you're also doing the ammo cache thing, right? So the ammo cache
7 out of 7 ammo cache. 7 out of 7 ammo cache.
With your Starstorm Duelist, with the ammo cache, you've got 10 inches or 9 inches of threat through a door, where suddenly your 2 shooting actions have 1 to 2 rerolls baked in for each of your shooting actions. Yeah. And that's probably one of the things that made a huge difference, because I've always thought that Corsairs are really good, but you're like one bad roll away from just
you are. You need them rerolls, and
the ammo cache being used on the Starstorm Duelist just really takes the little melta pistol into much more reliable range. Where if you kill a Marine, it's kind of game over.
I mean, in Game 2 against the Plague Marines, I did spend 3 CP to reroll 3 fusion pistol dice. I rolled all misses. Ammo cache 1 into a success, and I'm like, all right, 1 at a time. Success. Nice. He saved the 1, reduced the damage, and it was on the leader. He reduced it, I think, by 2, so he was on 2, and then Shuriken picked him up. But yeah, when you get the opportunity to go for double kill or kill a Space Marine, you pick up every CP on that fusion pistol every single time. The tempo gain is immense if you do it. I mean, you spend 1, if you roll 1 into a miss, maybe you spend 2. If you roll the second into a miss, then you stop.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're like, okay, cool, I'll do 5 damage.
Basically, as long as the chance is you can land 3 normal hits, you should keep chasing it. But once that's out of range, you stop, because the upper end of 10 damage is not really going to do that much against the Marine. Especially early on when you're trying to
because he's gonna trade. If you're only showing the 2 dice, even if he fails, he's gonna pick up that CP to reroll to save on 5 damage. Like, he's gonna do it.
Yeah. And then he'll kill your guy, and then you're sad.
Yeah, and then you're sad. And then you hope you spike on the Shuriken and do the roll 3 crits and a hit, rending 4 crits, which I did a couple times.
It's not even that unlikely, too. Like, because
it's not great.
Especially you're doing the ammo cache, you've got to reroll. If you're on a token, you've got another reroll. All of a sudden, you're throwing 6 dice, like getting like 1 or 2 crits in there. Like, even just like 1 crit becomes 2 crits. 2 crits and 2 hits is like not that unusual when you have all those rerolls.
Like, when you get the 2 crits, 2 hits, you're like, neat. You're probably looking at 7 damage real quick on whoever is taking this. Yeah,
it's just that unbridled aggression definitely lets you swing with your hardest hitting operatives, and it sounds like it did very well overall.
The main thing is doing that masterclass in staging, where it's like you are staging up aggressive, but you're giving no value. Everything that's up there is a trading piece designed to be there. Little things too. If you get the Starstorm off, you can freely stage up whoever the fuck you want on the ammo cache. Because no matter what, if you win initiative, the Starstorm is going to go pop off and kill some people.
Or just run away. Like, he'll shoot once and then just disappear back into the shadows.
Yeah, or if you are close enough to go dash, double shoot, and then move somewhere, like out of line of sight to make it annoying, 100%. So you can freely stage up.
If we're imagining that you've shunted your Starstorm Duelist up 18 inches in this theoretical game plan, you might be able to get a dash and a double shoot if you win initiative on turn 2.
You might. Look, you never know how aggressively your opponents might stage up. But yeah, you can stage up someone freely behind them, because if you lose initiative, it's like, are you going to come kill the dude over here, or are you going to come kill the Starstorm? 100% of the time, you're going to come kill the Starstorm. He's already like 9, 8, let's call it 8 to 10 inches up the board, meaning he now has access to anywhere he wants. If you don't kill him, he's going to go get even more value. You have to kill him, so someone can freely stage up to then clap back whoever they bring out to kill the Starstorm.
And this is kind of a thing that you get to do against elites specifically, because you out-activate them, right?
Yeah. When you get that
when they're staging up on turn 1, your Starstorm Duelist is going to be one of the last set of operatives to go break that parity, right? The activation parity. And if people have not thought about how far up you can move, they're just giving you a free melta shot with 2 rerolls, or 1 reroll probably.
With 4 rerolls if I need it on the fusion pistol, I'll do it. I'll reach for the 3 CP every time into a Space Marine. Honestly, even into a mid-range team, if my duelist is hanging out there, I'd much rather he get the 1 and change kill value on the way out than just flub. Corsairs don't need a lot of the CP. As long as you can keep the reroll 1 up turn to turn, you're usually pretty good.
And part of the strategy that you're getting to employ, because you're using some of your really far-flung threats while staging up your defensive threats on the midboard, is you can let your opponent go first, because you're not really worried if they go first, because you've got your defensive piece in the midboard that they can charge that you go ahead of.
Yeah.
You've got your Starstorm Duelist that if you win initiative, you'll go. But if not, if he's dead already, I guess I'll go second and get the extra CP and farm up your other ploys, right?
The number of times I used the strat phase dash when I lost initiative to tuck the Starstorm somewhere that now it's like, okay, you can't see him. You must now spend APL to move up to kill me. It's phenomenal. The strat phase dash should cost, you know what? It should be 1 plus CP, but it should give you 2 dashes. Instead of D3, just give you 2.
Well, I mean, right now, I guess it's balanced on, because you never know how many dashes, it costs 1 a turn.
That's true.
Whether or not that's where we want it to be balanced. It does sound like it's, I mean, let's be honest,
on the cake.
Any single piece of movement outside of the normal gameplay activation speed does end up feeling really gross, and strat ploy movement feels particularly really powerful. You know, Pathfinders get to do it. You know, obviously the Corsairs get to do it. A couple other teams get to do it, and it always feels really powerful.
Yeah, it's the more tricks you can have like that, the better. And Corsairs have just enough. It's not like hyrotech levels of like we can do like all this stuff, shoot through the guy's eyes, teleport, shoot through them, all that. But like a little teleport here, a little dash there. It's just enough spice to keep it all going.
Are there any other teams that you feel like kind of rhyme like the Corsair Voidsguard in the, you know, teams that are not getting classified that you're looking at?
Right now, so I'm looking at Goremongers, Battleclade, Blades of Cain. Those are probably, those are the 3 I'm looking at. Goremongers I've already played. I love them. They are so much fun. They're a good time, but I think there's some matchups they hardcore struggle with that are particularly common in the meta. Plague Marines is gonna be tough. Like even if you've cracked it, kind of thing. It's just you're just -1 to hit a lot of the times. You got no piercing, and they can just save this stuff. The more opportunities your opponent has to roll dice, the more opportunities they have to spike. So it's like, oh, neat, I got my rending. I got 2 crits, 2 hits. Like, okay, here's 2 crit saves and a normal save. I'll take 4. Roll a die. I'll take 3. It's you just straight up can't fight them.
There's no real way for Goremongers to avoid Plague Marines, because all of your damage is up in close, and if you're shooting them, they're fine shooting you back and then charging. Like, they don't really care. They'll run around and tap you just fine.
They have a pretty decent amount of healing. I mean, Goremongers have good healing too, but Plague Marines can do enough damage to get you down. Like the severe bolters with the poison tokens, like they'll get you. They'll get you down when they need to.
Like, the worry for Goremongers is teams that can just double tap you, right? And Plague Marines can just walk up. If you're not going to kill them in melee in 1 step. Maybe even in 2 steps, you're not necessarily guaranteed to kill with -1 to hit.
2 steps is still absurd. If the Plague Marine player has 1 CP in their pocket and your plan is to be like, I'm going to charge and double fight you, neat. Your weapons are 3-4. So you need to sink 4 crits, actually even 4 crits. Yeah, 4 crits through will get you
4
there.
Crits with them doing nothing to you.
Yeah, with them not parrying, but they also, every one of their melee weapons has severe. So they have an auto crit to parry one of your crits off the bat.
Marines, very popular. Angels of Death, you know, they might be literally.
Dueler is also a problem, but the upside there is without the damage reduction, you can at least sink some damage through. Like you can walk up and be like, if you get your rending.
And also, Angels of Death don't have heal, which is really big in that overall matchup, feeling like it's doable. Whereas every once in a while, the Plague Marine player's like, I heal for 7, get wrecked, nerd, and then they just double tap you and you die.
I had a game with Plague Marines where I got 30 healing. Like I did 3 on the leader and healed for 7, 3 turning points.
That's
jeez.
Pair up your plague casters and your leaders together and make them best friends, and watch as they tear down a side of the map and take no damage because you heal it all back up. Have the bolter guy right behind them for backups.
The Goremongers definitely have that difficulty. You know, they're a melee, they're a close-in team that doesn't want to get shot at, and there's plenty of teams that want to double tap. You know, there's a million Marine teams and everybody wants to play them. You know, Angels of Death are maybe not doing all that well in the week-to-week stats, but they are still, I think, like 10% of the metagame floor.
I think if more Angels of Death players took more ammo caches, the win rate would go up. They have 4 piercing 1 guns. Like they have a not terrible roster for shooting.
Yeah. Tack Doctrine plus the ammo cache, you know, staging with a Vulcus piece of terrain, you get your 5-inch move and then you double tap and your opponent's like, well, that's not good. And it's there for the whole turn, right? So even on counteract.
Yeah, you get it on your counteract shots as well. So just take that ammo cache, all you listeners playing Angels of Death. Try it. Got 4 piercing 1 guns.
Ammo cache, not just for the ratlings.
3 of those can double shoot. 2 with the bolters, and then bolt sniper can shoot twice.
Well, even just bolt rifles are crit piercing, and you can make them. You can have crit piercing severe bolt rifles. You can have lethal 5 crit piercing stalker bolt rifles. You've got crazy shooting. You should be shooting everybody into the dirt.
It's great shooting, and you have great melee to back it up. Like you can run a clean. You run the Assault Intercessor Grenadier, The intercessor gunner, the one with the grenade launcher, cracked frag profile, always run the eliminator. In my opinion, he's just so good.
Interesting.
Leader
that is
with
the
plasma,
opposite of Jason's strategy, by the way.
captain with plasma pistol, and then there's your 4 sources of piercing. And then honestly, you run 2 assault intercessors because their bolt pistols have piercing crits 1 as well, I believe. And now you have 4 or 5 chainsword guys with piercing crits 1. Good time. No, eliminator being able to shoot perma silent with the 3 different profiles is incredible.
It's so much harder to shoot twice.
No, it's hard to shoot twice, but it is reasonably easy to ignore obscuring, shoot once, counteract shoot.
That's true.
Heavy gunner. I have killed a heavy gunner in 1 activation too many times. Like with my opponent.
Engage, do the counteract shoot though. No.
Astartes can counteract from conceal. His weapon is silent.
And it's a silent profile, so it works. Yeah, it does actually work. I just, personally, I prefer the eliminator does not put enough pressure on the opponent. So I'm just like, here's 6 guys with chainswords. I don't know, who cares about board control if you kill everyone? I'm just like, here's my leader has a power sword and 5 dudes with chainswords. And then you just run everyone out in the open, and it's like, you can maybe kill 1 or 2, but my counteracts are going to be devastating. And the more you kill, the more double counteracts I get. And if you set it up right, you can get 1 Space Marine can kill 5+ models in a turn. And that's how you should be playing Angels of Death.
I get to 5.
Okay, so hold on to your hats.
Oh, is this like gross optimal? You're double counteracting for fight shoot?
Oh yeah. So it's like you shoot twice and then you charge, and then you punch someone and on counteract and shoot. So your counteract is fight and shoot. And if you've got like an auto bolt rifle, that is a torrent bolt gun. You are like, if people cluster up at all and they're like, especially, it's like for real, take dark, 6 of
this
these.
This is like an in the dark, very powerful strat because people cluster around doors a lot. So Jason,
doorway fight is not in the equation.
Moving over through the room and just like, oh, this is torrent lethal 5. Get wrecked, nerds.
And you're just lethal 5 all the time. So you can just bring 6 auto bolt rifles and you just run on with your lethal 5 bolt gun, and then you like hide somewhere where you are like just behind a heavy barricade or like a door or something so that you're obscured. And if someone gets close enough to shoot at you, you shoot with the auspex through it so that you ignore the penalty. And cute. Then just like sweeping people with the torrent bolt rifle is gnarly. On like, if people are clustered up in strongholds and you torrent them, it's crazy. If you do it with a grenade guy, you like throw a frag or a crack, like throw a frag into a cluster, shoot someone with a heavy bolt pistol, charge, counteract, kill someone with a chainsword, throw another frag, kill both of the people that
you're asking for your opponent to participate a lot in this dream world where Angels of Death sail through with quintuple kills.
So, but here's the thing. If you prioritize staging for triple kills and quadruple kills more than your own safety, like if you stage all 6 Marines somewhere that they're going to get a triple kill, you can kill 3 of them and the other 3 will get triple kills. Yeah. So then it's just like, it doesn't even matter that your opponent is like killing you or doing whatever they want. It's just you stage all 6 guys, prioritizing the triple kill over your own safety, and then profit.
Like, definitely an interesting thing. I don't think it's a thing you could do against Corsairs. Too many interrupts.
That's 100% the way that I beat Corsairs before. Because I was like, I played a million games against Corsairs, kept losing, and then I was just like, okay, stage for the triple kills.
If your opponent gives you all of their, like, the other piercing 2 gun, all that to you for free. The one who, you have to kill the bird person in shooting. You don't want to charge in and take 10 damage to kill a guy, because that's not, like, even if you get the triple kill off that one, like, that guy's dead. He dies to basically anybody on the team with a glance.
I think Jason is generally staging up a little bit more aggressively. So
I love it. Like, I think that is the way.
Fusion gunner goes in, kills a Marine, and then Jason on turn 1 is expecting to counteract and kill that guy. That's generally what Jason is.
That's true.
To do.
Yeah.
That does require your opponent to blunder directly into that, though.
Yes, but no one else. No one is ever playing the game on turning point 1 like this. And then if you've got like aggressive staging and obscured angles, it's like there's so many shots that you could take, and it's like, oh man, if I go over here, I can actually finally avoid your obscuring that you kept on setting up against me. And it's like, yes, and then you die to counteract. Or you go last, and then it is a little spooky, because if you go last and then get the kill and then go first and then kill more, that is devastating, but it does feed the triple kill machine later.
As you're staging guys up aggressively, it's like, I'm gonna move dash the blaster 9 and shoot a guy for 12 damage real quick.
And then the blaster's gonna die.
But that's fine.
And I will trade a Space Marine for a blaster
Like,
all day, every day. Because it's like, if I lose two Space Marines,
this is not the first time we've had this layer of conversation on this podcast. And Jason love the hyper-aggression.
You'll be done activating. I will have 3 or 4 activations left, and we'll go like 1, 2. Yeah, we'll go grab like 3 Space Marines.
But the thing is, if everyone's on engage, the counteract shootbacks are always going to be there.
If you're actually, that's true. If your whole team is on engage, I'm just gonna pop tart and do a bunch of pop tarting with just, all right, I'm gonna shoot that guy, and then I'm gonna move dash so you can't see me, and just do that.
But then there's only like 2 people that can pop tart effectively and have long range. There's a bunch of pistols, and then also if you're not like stacking up all the rerolls, then it like doesn't even matter at all.
Yeah, you throw enough dice though.
That's true. But
at any rate, this is not the first time we've had the all aggression Space Marine conversation on here. Nor do I expect it to be the last of it, because
there will be
this is what Jason likes to do, and whether or not it works against Vivek, the only way we're gonna find out is in tournaments, which is part of the reason why Kill Team is such a great game, right? Because we've got all these different perspectives on how to play.
I mean, I love to see it. I love aggro play styles. I'm curious if that is just the way for Space Marines. Like, just play the most intense pressure game you can. Ignore your losses and just go for as much max value. I think you might be onto something with it.
For Angels of Death, it 100% is, because... But you also need to be 100% on your A game for the double counteract to be killing stuff all the time. The thing that is amazing is it even works against other elites. Because it's like, if I just run out, and it's kind of the same thing you were talking about with just like, let your power swords do 10 damage and die, it doesn't matter. But it's like, but for Angels of Death, it's like, let me do 9 damage with a chainsword and then die. It doesn't matter. Like, I will never take duelist because I will never parry. I'm just going to run out there, and if I get 2 hits and you've got 5, or if you've got like 2 hits and I've got a crit and a hit, I'm just going to...
Everybody takes dueler. Now I'm super curious, because you're heavy gunner, dueler.
So I don't take any heavy gunner. I'll take
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'll take either 5 auto bolt rifles or 5 chainswords. And like, I'll skip the gunner, or I'll skip the grenadier. Captain? I take the power sword assault sergeant.
Interesting.
Because he will be the one that takes dueler maybe, or hardy. Because then he's got 5 attacks with a lethal 5 dueler power sword, and dueler's a billion times better on the power sword anyways. Like, the chainswords are pretty unreliable.
Getting the crit is nice. Yeah, getting the crit is nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I love
spicy.
The captain, because my captain is dope. Fucking lovely Raptors captain.
I kind of get the sense that for Angels of Death, it's actually a trap, because you'd rather have 3 traits on your big leader and just free attack rerolls for the whole game.
Just a scratch. I mean, into other elites, I am really liking the Just a Scratch of the Power Fist. 5 dice Power Fist on 3s is fun.
Also, if the leader is the last one standing, and he's the one doing the double counteracts, if you Power Fist someone and then Plasma Pistol someone, you're getting huge value.
Yeah,
so I've
massive
a little
value.
bit been coming around to the sergeant, or the captain, from that perspective. But I mean, like, you really can't go wrong with the power sword for sure, because it's just insanely good.
No, you can't. Power sword, lethal 5/4/6 is an amazing profile.
And then like shock assault makes you 4/7, because your first hit is +1
first one,
if it's a crit,
which is excellent.
And it's to a max of 7, so it does nothing for the power fist, and it's just the perfect sweet spot for the power sword in a lot of matchups.
The weird one for me is, why can legionaries reach 8 damage, and Angels of Death they're specifically like, no, you cannot go to 8 damage?
Man, there's just something about going to the dark gods that gets you to 8 damage.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because then they're like, oh, you can 2-tap other Space Marines because they're not. But legionaries can't. I don't know. It's weird.
Legionaries totally can, because you can have like 6. Yeah, you've got like 6/8 all over the place. Well, really, just on one guy, but.
I mean, you have I think 5/8 on one of the leader options. This is pretty good.
5/8 on the Chosen. Yeah, it's very amazing, super strong. 6/8 on the Butcher.
We're about to lose our Legionary in a couple months, so I'm curious to see what's going to fill in, or if Nemesis Claw and Plague Marines are going to take up the chaotic slot for the time being, while Angels of Death are just the loyalists.
Nemesis Claw players are menaces. Okay, it's a menace team. Don't turn off my rerolls. I like my rerolls.
Well, we're getting on that note. We're getting rid of Hunterclade soon.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. Battleclade is going to be sweet. I'm going to have some fun with that.
Battleclade does look sick. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts about him.
Okay, so off the bat, the leader being able to solo Alpha Strike Turning Point 1 is hilarious. You get Scout Reposition, Strat Phase Reposition, as long as you end up on the midpoint or an objective, which you can pretty well do with 9 inches of movement. Then you can move dash shoot a guy, or at that point, you've moved probably 9 inches up the board. You could drop your Ceaseless token on your primary target, and then shoot. if they are playing a horde team and they are base to base behind heavy terrain, you can hit 5 guys. You pick up every.
Hold on, is this like a?
Yeah, you get the ammo crate in the mid board. You pick up every CP, and you're looking for like, I want 3 crits so I can instantly kill 5 guys.
Wait, hold on. Does this guy have like torrent, or are you throwing a frag grenade, or what's up with that?
He has 1-inch devastating 3, and if you've got 4 on
lethal 5 up
with, lethal 5 up with. Ammo crate plus all the other CP, you can probably get a pretty good alpha strike on.
If you're looking at 5 guys, like, I'm picking up those CP, I want those 3 crits.
This is a very spicy take that I had not looked at before. 1-inch devastating 3? How did I not see that at all?
Lethal 5 up. So it's like, come on now.
It didn't register until this excitement.
It's a pretty cool thing.
A Marine killer in his pocket.
Yeah, and you'll have ceaseless against the target you're going to go against, right?
Most likely, with the amount of movement, you probably.
Yeah,
bro.
Because you'll have 15 inches of movement. If your opponent's in range at all, you could just blow them up.
Yeah, and with the way a lot of the Vulcus maps are constructed, you could do that in basically a straight line. Because like, I am going first, I'm just gonna boop 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 boop.
And if you really line it up for the alpha strike, you'll have saturate too, because you've got your dude in the back who's looking at your first target, and your opponents are like, you're gonna have to roll those dice normally, my guy.
Yep, it's so cute. That, and then you've got all the other nonsense. Now you can use the support equipment. You get multiple 9-inch bubbles of command people. The equipment to play shell game with everybody. It's like, I've staged up my Melta aggressively. What if instead it was just a flamer that you can now kill?
Plot twist. Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's also like, this gun? No, it's actually the medic that I no longer need. Or like the medic is now switching from one side to the other, so that if it needs to heal, your opponent's like, oh, well, this guy that shot on turn 1 is now covered by medic.
The medic might ride the bench, straight up. I don't like medics. So I was last edition. Every horde team is taking medics. The medic was the first guy I benched, and it immediately made my team infinitely better. Having 1, the dude to throw away, 2, not worrying about the medic and saving people. Guardsmen die. Okay? Don't try to save them on 1.
Battleclade have a different cadence just because your guys aren't quite as disposable. And your heal doesn't, or your medic ability doesn't cause you to lose APL.
Which is nice. It is nice.
That's huge, actually. That's big.
Yeah, and also D3 plus 3 heal is much better on a team with a shrug.
It's a lot more reliable, too.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is neat. I have to play it and figure it out. Maybe this will be the team that brings me back to the medic.
I think the goal of the team is to get into a shootout as early as possible, and the medic is very good in a shootout on this team because all of your guys are double shooting, and your opponent can't kill an 11 wound 4-up save shrug model.
You're
behind it.
4/5 Nemesis Claw. You're like, neat. 3 dice, please.
Yeah, that's like I've been playing a bunch of Kasserkin lately, and then one of the things you can do with the medic there, and they I still lose the APL on the Kasserkin, but it's basically like I can run out and shoot at someone and stand out in the open, and then the medic will cover a whole bubble of people that are just taking reckless shots, and they're outside of charge threat ranges, and you're shooting back and it's useless, and you can yoink people around, and then turn 2 after all that other shooting is happening or whatever, then it's just the medic jumps over the front line, is shooting at someone standing out in the open. The gunner runs out next to the medic and is shooting someone. And if you can't double shoot, you can't kill anything but the medic. Because it's just you shoot my gunner down to 1 HP, I save him, then we both jump the wall, and then we're just shooting at you more. If you shoot my 1 HP gunner, it doesn't matter because I just saved with the medic again. So you have to kill the medic, and now the gunner can shoot you again. And it's the amount of pressure that you put just standing out in the open with the medic is crazy.
Yeah, I could definitely buy Battleclade players leaving the medic behind. I think there's a pretty reasonable chance that might be okay most of the time. But the fact that this medic is on a team that wants to be able to mess around with your APL and it doesn't lose APL is pretty nice.
That is nice, yeah. The network counteract is going to be chef kiss, okay? I'm telling you right now.
Because the medic is oftentimes just healing and then network counteracting, and then suddenly something is just getting the 3 APL turn, which is pretty nice.
And also network counteract heal.
Yeah, that's true. I've been doing that in the games that I've been noodling around. I'm like, if I heal twice, this was removed.
That's really good.
Other team. This ability to heal twice, this was removed from every other team on purpose.
Which means this is probably first data slate. They're like, hey guys, guess what? The same thing that happened to every other heal. Here you go.
Well, the best part is if everybody thinks the medic is trash, it's just going to get removed, and no one's even going to know.
He is the weakest link on the team, in my opinion. The Flamers are cute. They're only 6-inch range, but getting on a team that hits on 4s, having a bunch of dudes that hit on 2s is fun. 4/4, not bad. I mean, into mid range, it's devastating. It's like, oh no, how many 4/4 flamers do you have? It's like as many as I want, real quick. I take the whole team real quick.
3. Drop the medic and you
got 4.
Is it capped
at 3? Okay.
Yeah, it's capped at 3. Although, if you could take 8, it might actually make some sense to just have 8 of them.
Wait, so it's the flamers that are capped at 3?
I believe so, yeah.
You're allowed as many bolters as you want, and you're allowed 1
It's the bolters you can have unlimited.
The bolters are awful, and nobody don't. People listening, don't look at the phosphor blaster or whatever it's called. Garbage.
I mean, if you're replacing a medic, I could see you putting another long range gun on there.
Oh yeah, if you're replacing your medic, go ahead.
I think having played them a little bit, having only close-up guns does kind of run counter to like the perceived way that you want to approach the game, because it is a turret defense game.
It is, yeah. But that's where your two gun servitors is in the back.
Well, the thing is, like, you have the ability to do no obscurity twice in a turning point with your Akill and Eye, so you can do no obscurity, and then the 4-on-4s, 3/4 severe bolters with accurate 1 and ceaseless. Worse when you're trying to tag other wide teams.
Yeah.
Against elites, I wouldn't bother, but against any of the smaller teams that you're getting in shootouts with, it's not the worst.
The severe is like just enough that you actually can kind of shoot at elites. Especially like if you're shooting through obscured, you can definitely get away with that.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting team. Typhon feels a little more fair just because there's 5 of them, even though they've got a lot of crazy tricks floating around. Just, Jason.
I've been doing a dive in them. Have you guys played any games with them yet? I haven't gotten a chance to play any of the new teams.
I played Battleclade probably like 4 times now. Ooh. 3 of them against myself at this point, and then 1 just recently after the NDA basically went up.
Oh, true that.
Yeah. So
Raveners definitely feel weaker.
Did a few. It's interesting because they're a super elite team, but they absolutely cannot aggress like elites can. Like, I mean, we all know how I feel about Angels of Death, and Raveners are 0% that. Like, if you try to just, like, run up forward, you just lose immediately. Like, you 100%... Like, I think the way I've kind of landed with the Raveners, also, for anyone that watched the YouTube video, I was totally wrong about how the tunnel works. You don't put the next token within 5, it's wholly within 5. And that actually is, like, by
20 millimeters
2,
worse,
that's, like, 3... There's 3 tokens down by turn 2, because you've got 0, 1, and 2, and then you're, like... This is the difference between you are fully on the middle objective, which is how I was doing it when I was doing it wrong, versus you don't even threaten the middle objective a lot of the times.
Yikes.
So it's like, it's a totally different
you can
thing.
Always pop up and move onto the middle objective.
Yes, but then you're spending 2 APL to just move.
Yeah, it's very dumb.
On a 5 operative team. And then you're not on the tunnel, and then you're cooked.
The 6-inch deployment ones, even worse. Your first token is still in your deployment zone.
That's true. Yeah, you don't even like reach the edge of your deployment zone no matter what on those boards, which is rough. But I think what you got to do with Raveners is you have one guy, and it's going to be the shooty dork because he's kind of mid.
Yeah.
And he just on turn 2 trades his life for enough victory points, hopefully to stay tied on turn 2 points wise with your opponent. And then on turn 3, your tunnel hits somewhere it needs to be, and all 4 bugs pop out of the tunnel at the same time and kill everyone.
Yeah. The problem is you don't have enough rerolls to go kill everybody unless you're fighting on the tunnel, and it's like, what are you going to do? Ammo cache.
By turn 3, okay, ammo cache, yeah. Well, it's the fact that you should never be shooting with this team. Their shooting is awful, and once you get shooting with the big pukey spit bug, his shooting is okay, but it costs 2 APL for 1 shot that is like actually it's like
no, but you preload, you load in TP1 because it lasts.
Yes.
It doesn't disappear, yeah.
But then you still can't like shoot it twice or like do anything like super meaningful. Or you could like stage danger close to try to get the charge fight shoot or shoot fight charge or whatever. But that's pretty reckless. But nonetheless, it does still cost 2 APL, and then when they shoot you back, you just
they have another 3/4 piercing 1 gun, the bone mace on the Wrecker guy.
Yeah, your Wrecker is your second best shooter on the team.
Is like by far the most important operative on the team because he can 1-shot or 2-shot pretty much anything.
Yep, pretty huge.
Damn, everybody's just pincer tail. Gross.
Yeah, so everyone has a 3-inch silent bolt pistol shooting attack. A little bit of varying flavors between the operatives. The Tremor Scythe can turn you into a 4 activation team because he does like what the bird guy does essentially, where if you get close to the tunnel, you just immediately interrupt their action. the same way that the Corsair bird guy does, and you jump out of the tunnel and you charge and fight, which is pretty gnarly. But then you're down to 4
the
activations.
Bird guy does not. The bird guy does not activate. He just interrupts your movements with charges or repositions, and then I am still ready. It's your activation. I've just charged you.
Which makes it, yes. So it's not quite even like better. That with the Raveners. It is even better for the bird guy, because the Ravener, you do actually fully activate, and then you're down to 4 activations. But it is like, you can still have some pretty potent counteracts, because you can go back into the tunnel. Which is pretty neat, but it really is just, your tunnel's not going to be anywhere that means anything until like turn 3. So,
which at that point in a scoring game, you might be too late, kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's like turn 2, you trade 1 guy for points. Turn 3, 4 bugs crush the entire enemy team, and if they fail, you lose.
Or on turn 2, you hostage take the people who move up, and then in counteract you kill them and pray.
But like, if you hostage take people and you're not on the tunnel, you have no rerolls.
Well, the turn 3 after you hostage take, the tunnel comes to you, and then you get back in.
The rough part is the very limited amount of rerolls. Because like, cool, I want to go charge fight people, but I got to do it on my tunnel, or it's with no rerolls. Unless you burrow,
you'll come from the tunnel and then you'll charge and you'll get the 1 reroll. So it's like not. I guess the ammo crate for the shooting. You're gonna
a balanced reroll on 5 dice is cute when you're playing Void Dancers. When you have 5 dudes, and if you charge up to a 4 or 5 chainsword guy and be like, I got 2 hits, and he's like, neat, I got like 2 crits, 3 hits, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, I assume Raveners are gonna hit the wall of Plague Marines and dueling Angels of Death.
That's dude, be the Plague Marines, like, neat. You just hit on 4s. Your 4/5 is now 3/4. Come on down. And I get ceaseless because I'm standing still when I'm retaliating.
The trick is they can still do a lot of chip damage. You can like do Splash Burrow, like you jump up, you do D3 to everyone around you. Poison Frenzy does damage to everyone around you. You can do the Explode on Death to do D3 to everyone around you. You just want to like get in there and do like 3D3 to everyone.
That's true. You could do some combos and get some extra damage off. You do have some CP generation. It's not bad. 2 up, 3 up, 4 up. Yeah.
It's actually some of the best CP generation in the game.
You guys both talked at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely some of the best in the game for CP generation. If you compare it to like every other team, it's pretty up there.
Does anybody have more consistent CP generation?
I mean, the old Legionary had the more consistent.
Yeah, I mean,
but thankfully
maybe
we
Inquisition.
That from the game.
Yeah, Infinite CP on Legionary is a little fun.
Angels of Death, because they had the Sergeant is a copy paste of the icon pre-nerf, and it is just not nerfed.
Nice.
Anyways, it's a pretty exciting time to be a Kill Team player. It sounds like Canada's got a large amount of growth.
Oh yeah,
Corsairs, coming out of nowhere, sniping it out on the same weekend that Blades of Cain are cruising
what's the win rate?
Through the metagame.
What's the win rate for Corsairs? Because you mentioned earlier that the stats weren't great, and I'm curious.
I think on the week-to-week stats that me and Jason do, they're pretty much around 50-50s most weekends, if not a little worse. Like, they're a pretty normal-looking team, and then every once in a while they'll spike.
Hi, it's me, Spike.
It's true.
Exactly.
It's you.
And it was actually, we saw you in the spike, and that's where we're like, oh yeah, let's chat. I mean, actually,
Travis witnessed it live the entire time.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I mean, this has been a super fun episode.
Oh yeah, you guys are great.
Thank you definitely for hopping on. I also do want to shout out for
Anytime,
everyone,
brother.
For all the listeners that made it to the end. Vivek was just on Command Point as well. Not sure exactly when that episode is coming out, but it should be soon if it's not already out by the time you hear this. And he does a super duper deep dive on just all sorts of like tactical game mechanics, stuff like that. So listeners, you should definitely check that out. And thanks for listening till the end.
Have a good night, everybody.